In the history of the Royal Rumble, where even the slightest mistake can shatter championship dreams, there have been moments that left fans absolutely stunned, when wrestlers eliminated themselves. Whether driven by rage, frustration, or pure overexcitement, these shocking incidents have become legendary, igniting the arena in disbelief. From the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, to stars like Randy Savage and Mick Foley, each had their own reason for such baffling actions. So, what really happened in those unforgettable moments? Let's dive right in. Wrestling Sphere, go! 1. Mick Foley. The 2004 Royal Rumble wasn't just the night Randy Orton solidified himself as Evolution's rising star, it was also home to one of the most fiery revenge moments in WWE history. Entering the match at number 2, Orton was in peak form, lasting over 33 minutes and eliminating Rikishi, Booker T, Shelton Benjamin, Ernest Miller, and Rico. Confident and cocky, he seemed destined to win it all. But then, everything took an unexpected turn. When it was time for the 21st entrant, chaos erupted backstage. Test was found unconscious, the victim of a mysterious attack. Ross Sheriff, Stone Cold Steve Austin, demanded that whoever was responsible step in to take his place. Moments later, the crowd exploded as Mick Foley stormed onto the stage. Weeks earlier, Orton had spat in Foley's face and humiliated him, driving the hardcore legend into silence. But that night, Foley returned not to compete, but to punish. He charged into the ring with wild fury, unleashing a relentless barrage of punches and strikes on Orton. The ring erupted into pure chaos as the two brawled uncontrollably, every hit echoing years of pent-up rage and bitterness. The climax came when Foley hit his signature cactus clothesline, sending both men crashing over the top rope. They were eliminated simultaneously, but only one of them walked away with victory in spirit. Foley sacrificed his shot at winning for the perfect moment of vengeance. Raw, emotional, and unforgettable. It was a defining act of hardcore justice, carved forever into WWE history. 2. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, former NFL punter, sports analyst, and popular host, is no stranger to WWE fans. Over the years, he's joined the commentary table and even stepped into the ring, proving he's more than just talk. But no one could have predicted what he'd do at the 2024 Royal Rumble, creating one of the most unbelievably real moments in the event's long history. Initially, McAfee was there simply as a commentator. But when the entry music for number 22 hit, the crowd erupted in disbelief. It was Pat McAfee himself. Laughing and hyped up by the roaring audience, he leapt from the announce table, headed down the ramp, and officially entered the Royal Rumble as an unexpected competitor. However, that excitement quickly turned into pure panic when he saw who was waiting for him: Braun Breaker and Amos, the 7'3", 416-pound giant. Realizing the odds, McAfee could only grin nervously. He climbed onto the ropes, glanced around the ring, and then, in a hilarious twist, jumped over the top rope himself, eliminating himself after just 38 seconds. Afterward, McAfee admitted he had no idea he'd be asked to enter and acted purely on instinct. Fans loved the moment, calling it peak WWE entertainment. Spontaneous, funny, and totally genuine. And honestly, who could blame him? Facing both Braun Breaker and Amos at once, bailing out might have been the smartest decision Pat McAfee ever made. 3. Andre the Giant. Throughout his legendary career, Andre the Giant was known as the undisputed king of battle royals. With hundreds of victories around the world, he was virtually unbeatable in matches where size and strength meant everything. Yet, when it came to the Royal Rumble, luck seemed to turn its back on the eighth wonder of the world. At Royal Rumble 1989, Andre made his debut in the iconic match, and things started exactly as fans expected. Entering at number 3, he immediately dominated the ring with terrifying power. Names like Smash, Ronnie Garvin, and Jake the Snake Roberts were tossed out one after another as if they weighed nothing more than sandbags. The arena exploded with excitement as the 7-foot-tall, 500-pound giant destroyed everything in his path. Then came one of the strangest twists in Royal Rumble history. Roberts, who had just been eliminated, suddenly returned to ringside, bringing along his infamous companion, the giant python, Damien. Every WWE fan of that era knew Andre had a crippling fear of snakes. The moment Damien was thrown into the ring, Andre completely panicked. In sheer terror, he climbed over the top rope and leapt out of the ring, eliminating himself in the process. It was an unforgettable mix of shock and comedy that left the crowd roaring. Though it cost him the match, the moment perfectly advanced the heated rivalry between Andre and Roberts. As for Jake, his interference may have been reckless, but it unwittingly made the giant his own downfall. 4. Kane. In WWE history, few superstars have inspired as much fear as the Big Red Machine, Kane. From his debut, he was portrayed as a remorseless monster, a destructive force leaving chaos wherever he went. Standing over 7 feet tall with monstrous strength, Kane built an incredible legacy, including his record-breaking performance at Royal Rumble 2001, where he eliminated 11 competitors in one night, a feat that fans still talk about today. But Royal Rumble 1999 told a very different story, one of the rare times Kane eliminated himself. Entering at number 18, he immediately wreaked havoc, tossing out Road Dogg, Kurgan, The Godfather, and Goldust in rapid succession. The ring trembled under his dominance, until chaos struck. Out of nowhere, a group of men dressed as mental hospital orderlies appeared, reportedly sent by the corporation, the powerful faction trying to control Kane. They carried handcuffs and tried to restrain the raging monster. Kane fought back furiously, knocking several of them down with brutal punches. But when he realized he was surrounded and had no way out, he suddenly climbed over the top rope and escaped the ring, effectively eliminating himself. That shocking moment left the audience speechless and brilliantly captured Kane's unpredictable nature, a terrifying creature that no one could ever truly control. Kane didn't lose to anyone that night. He simply chose to leave on his own terms, the perfect embodiment of chaos within WWE. 5. Mil Mascaras. In the world of professional wrestling, Mil Mascaras stands as a living legend of lucha libre, a true pioneer who brought the high-flying Mexican style to audiences around the globe. Known as the Man of 1,000 Masks, he was famous not only for his incredible athleticism but also for his strong ego and unshakable pride. And at the 1997 Royal Rumble, that very pride would lead to one of the most unforgettable and ironic moments of his career. Appearing with his signature confidence, Mascaras quickly wowed the crowd with his graceful aerial maneuvers, something rarely seen in WWE at the time. His spinning kicks and breathtaking dives drew loud cheers from the audience. But things took a strange turn when he climbed to the top rope, preparing for a spectacular dive onto an opponent lying outside the ring. Fans eagerly waited for the move, but when Mascaras launched himself through the air, his attack sent him crashing onto his opponent and out of the ring entirely. In doing so, he eliminated himself from the match. No one touched him, no move took him down. He simply forgot the Royal Rumble's most basic rule: both feet hitting the floor means elimination. Some jokingly said it was a strategy even Hulk Hogan would have wished he thought of first. Despite the blunder, the moment perfectly summed up Mil Mascaras, a proud legend who only loses when he decides to. 6. Ahmed Johnson. The 1997 Royal Rumble seemed to be a night full of bizarre moments, with not one, but 3 wrestlers eliminating themselves. And leading that chaotic charge was none other than Ahmed Johnson, a powerhouse of raw strength, but sometimes not the best judgment. Earlier that night, Ahmed had already fought once. Before entering the Rumble, he faced off against Farooq, the leader of the Nation of Domination and a man he'd been feuding with for months. Their heated rivalry was supposed to reach its breaking point, but the match ended in disqualification after the Nation interfered, leaving Ahmed furious. Still seething with anger, he entered the Royal Rumble at number 2. Right away, he made an impact, tossing out the fake Razor Ramon within seconds. Everything looked promising, until Farooq reappeared outside the ring, taunting him from ringside. Instead of staying focused, Ahmed let his rage take over. Rather than slipping under the ropes to confront his rival, he charged and leapt over the top rope, eliminating himself just to get his hands on Farooq. The crowd didn't know whether to laugh or shake their heads. It was a perfectly impulsive moment, the pure embodiment of Ahmed Johnson's hot-blooded personality. Winning didn't matter to him, revenge did. Unfortunately, that fiery decision made him the first man of the night to eliminate himself, a wild, hilarious, and memorable Royal Rumble moment that fans still talk about today. 7. Farooq. If there's one Royal Rumble that stands out as downright bizarre, it's Royal Rumble 1997, a night packed with strange eliminations and pure chaos. Few matches in WWE history have seen so many wrestlers eliminate themselves, and after Ahmed Johnson's shocking moment earlier, the next to suffer that fate was none other than Farooq, leader of the Nation of Domination. After provoking Ahmed into a furious self-elimination earlier in the match, everyone thought Farooq had dodged the storm. But Ahmed's rage was far from over. When Farooq entered at number 18, he immediately showed his dominance by overpowering Latin Lover and tossing him out with ease. Yet his triumph didn't last long. Out of nowhere, Ahmed Johnson stormed back from the crowd, wielding a 2x4 piece of wood, his eyes burning with vengeance. The arena erupted in chaos. The atmosphere turned electric as Ahmed charged toward the ring, swinging wildly at his rival. Farooq stumbled backward, clearly shaken, trying to avoid the onslaught. Then, in a desperate attempt to escape, he jumped over the top rope himself, eliminating his own chances of victory. Commentators tried to claim that Ahmed eliminated Farooq, but it was plain to see, Ron Simmons had done it to himself. It was both hilarious and baffling, the kind of moment that made Royal Rumble 1997 unforgettable, a reminder that even the toughest men can fall victim to their own panic. 8. Matt Hardy. The clash between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble 2018 was billed as a showdown between two of WWE's most unhinged minds. Both men were eccentric, mysterious, and unpredictable, the perfect recipe for chaos. Yet instead of a dramatic showdown, fans got one of the strangest self-eliminations in Royal Rumble history. Just 6 days earlier on Raw 25, WWE had Bray Wyatt defeat Matt Hardy in convincing fashion, a move that dampened fan expectations heading into the Rumble. Still, when the two finally met in the ring, the chaos was unforgettable. Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, entered at number 8 and quickly made an impact by eliminating Heath Slater, who had already been beaten down by other competitors. When Matt Hardy's music hit, the crowd came alive. Despite their heated rivalry, the two men shockingly teamed up to eliminate Rusev, drawing loud boos from the audience. But that uneasy alliance didn't last long. Seconds later, the tension reignited, and they began brawling furiously. In the middle of the scuffle, Matt Hardy accidentally sent both Bray Wyatt and himself tumbling over the top rope, a bizarre double elimination. Commentators tried to explain it as they eliminated each other, but a closer look showed what really happened. Matt delivered the shove that took them both out. It was an oddly fitting conclusion. Two twisted souls, locked in rivalry, taking each other down in perfect, chaotic symmetry. 9. Randy Savage. In 1992, Macho Man, Randy Savage entered the Royal Rumble with pure rage burning inside him. His target was none other than Jake, the Snake, Roberts, the man who had tormented Miss Elizabeth and ignited one of the most personal rivalries in WWE history. The moment Savage laid eyes on Roberts, he completely lost control. He charged forward like a storm, throwing punches and kicks, hammering away with all the fury he had bottled up for months. But in that blind rush of anger, Savage made a critical mistake. So consumed by vengeance, he leapt over the top rope to attack Roberts, who had rolled to the floor, effectively eliminating himself. The crowd gasped in disbelief, unsure of what just happened. Thousands of fans erupted in a mix of cheers and confusion, thinking the Macho Man had just done the unthinkable, eliminating himself, much like Andre the Giant had years earlier. Even the referees hesitated, uncertain how to interpret the situation, while commentators scrambled to make sense of it. Thankfully, the legendary Gorilla Monsoon stepped in to clarify. Since Savage had not been thrown out by another competitor, he was not eliminated and could legally re-enter the match. The incident remains one of the strangest in Royal Rumble history, a moment where pure emotion nearly cost a legend his chance at glory. It proved that even icons like Randy Savage could be overtaken by fury so intense it almost led to their own downfall. 10. Drew Carey. The Royal Rumble has always been full of surprises, but in 2001, WWE delivered one of its most hilarious shockers when the name Drew Carey was announced. Not a wrestler, not a legend, just a comedian stepping into a ring filled with giants ready to tear each other apart. And surprisingly, he didn't run away. Carey entered the match with his trademark grin, looking more like he was about to host a comedy special than survive a brawl. As competitors were eliminated one by one, he somehow became the unexpected center of attention. Despite doing virtually nothing, he lasted nearly 3 minutes, longer than Farooq, The Godfather, Big Show, and Taz combined, turning the chaos into a comedic spectacle. But the highlight came when Kane's ominous music hit. The monstrous Big Red Machine stormed toward the ring, glaring at Carey with icy intent. Terrified, Drew did the only thing that came to mind. He pulled out a wad of cash, trying to bribe Kane to spare him. Of course, money meant nothing to a creature like Kane. Realizing there was no way out, Carey made the smartest move of his career. He climbed over the top rope and eliminated himself, escaping with his life and his dignity intact. The crowd erupted in laughter as the comedian made his exit, turning his short stint into one of the most memorable self-eliminations in WWE history. A moment equal parts ridiculous, clever, and unforgettable. 11. Santino Marella. The Royal Rumble has always been the perfect blend of drama and comedy, and sometimes, it's the ridiculous moments that fans remember most. From Kane smashing Honky Tonk Man's guitar, the Hurricane boldly trying to chokeslam both Triple H and Stone Cold at once, to R-Truth dragging a ladder into the ring thinking he was in a Money in the Bank match. These moments captured WWE's signature brand of entertainment perfectly. However, Santino Marella's return at the Women's Royal Rumble 2020 didn't quite earn that same legendary comedic status. Entering at number 29, the crowd erupted as the Italian Clown Prince made his unexpected comeback. It was a surprising, light-hearted moment. Fans couldn't wait to see what kind of chaos he'd cause this time. But the excitement quickly faded. Santino tried to rekindle an old connection with Beth Phoenix, his former partner from the Glamourella days. Beth, however, stared back with ice-cold indifference. Panicking, Santino reached for his legendary weapon, the Cobra, only to realize that striking Beth or Natalya would be a terrible idea. With no escape left, he turned the Cobra on himself. Santino struck his own neck and dramatically hurled himself over the top rope, eliminating himself in front of a stunned, mildly disappointed audience. It was a comeback that fell flat, not funny enough to be entertaining, nor impactful enough to be memorable. That night's Rumble simply reinforced one thing: Santino Marella remained WWE's undisputed master of self-destruction. 12. MVP. Montel Vontavious Porter, better known as MVP, was one of WWE's most charismatic and confident superstars in the late 2000s. With sharp mic skills, swagger, and endurance inside the ring, he quickly established himself as a top-tier competitor. In 2010, MVP found himself in a heated rivalry with The Miz, who was then the reigning United States champion. The two clashed in a tense match just before the Royal Rumble, and although MVP put up a fierce fight, The Miz narrowly escaped with a win thanks to his cunning tactics. It seemed like the feud was over, until The Miz entered the Royal Rumble later that night. As MVP was making his entrance, Miz blindsided him with a brutal sneak attack on the ramp, leaving him sprawled out before he even reached the ring. Fans assumed the Ballin' Superstar was out of the match before it even began. But just minutes later, MVP stormed back down the aisle, filled with fury and vengeance. Charging into the ring, he immediately targeted The Miz, flooring him with a thunderous clothesline that sent both men flying over the top rope, eliminating themselves simultaneously. It was an impulsive but powerful moment, a burst of raw emotion that perfectly captured who MVP was: fiery, passionate, and unwilling to let his enemy walk away unpunished. Though it cost him a chance at victory, the moment defined his character. For MVP, pride mattered more than survival. It was one of the most memorable self-eliminations in Royal Rumble history, a moment where rage triumphed over reason. These self-eliminations from the Royal Rumble were both unbelievable and downright hilarious, a perfect reminder that in WWE, absolutely anything can happen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the wild stories coming your way from Wrestling Sphere.